Will you guys let me know when to start? In the fight for Namibia's liberation struggle, countless heroes and heroines emerged. Today, we pay tribute to one such heroine. Today marks a solemn moment in Namibia's history as we come together just 90 kilos southwest of the Keetmanshoop to bid farewell to a remarkable hero, Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. Good day and welcome to a special broadcast of the state funeral of our veteran and liberation struggle icon, Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. As her legacy continues through the corridors of liberation, she was a beacon of unwavering dedication and resilience and profound love for her people and, of course, the Namibian nation at large. I'm Desiree Christian, and it is my privilege to serve as your guide through this special broadcast of the memorial service of our fallen hero. And of course, a special welcome is extended to all viewers on the NBC platforms, NBC Plus, DSTV, and GoTV platforms, and all radio services linked. The President of Namibia, Nangolo Mbumba, conferred the honors of a national heroine and a state funeral for Mrs. Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros, which is under the powers vested in him by Article 32, and of course the Namibian Constitution, together with Section 3 conferment. President visited the family on the 5th of April and also used this occasion to console the family and extend a message of condolences to the children, the entire family, and the Namibian people. The Namibian flag flies at half-mast today, which is a symbol of mourning for a national heroine who has left an indelible mark on our country. The President has also declared a 3-day mourning period from the 19th to the 21st of April for Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros, as she leaves behind a legacy that will forever inspire generations to come. Of course, some aerial shots as we witness the arrival of remains of Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. Looking at the program in attendance, we will have the program director, which is the Minister of Justice, Mrs. Yvonne Dowsap, and of course in attendance will be Right Honorable Dr. Sarah Kokengwalo Amadila, Prime Minister and representative of the Chief Mourner, and then Mr. Michael Jimmy, the son, and of course other children of Ms. Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros and the entire bereaved family. Then we are expecting an Honorable Loita Kasingo, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, of course in attendance, all honorable ministers, Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, Sophia Shaningwa, and of course the President of the PDM and Leader of the official opposition, Honorable McHenry Venani, members of the Parliament, and Honorable Aleta Friedrichs, Governor of the Karas region as well. And if we have then Honorable Jeremias Huyeman, who is the Councillor of the Beersheba constituency, also expected to attend is Gaup Emmanuel Taseb, chairperson of the traditional leaders, and also to represent all other traditional leaders. Then we have Her Excellency Ms. Javelina Imperial Acosta, Ambassador of the Republic of Angola, and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and all the members of the Diplomatic Corps. And of course, service chiefs, veterans of this liberation struggle, and all SWAPO wings. Pastor Abel Fries of the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, as well as fellow mourners who are attending from all walks of life, as well as the region and surrounding areas. The regional Governor Honorable Aleta Friedrichs also made provisions for all people in the region and surrounding areas to attend this solemn occasion. Also in attendance is the Minister in the Presidency, Honorable Christine Huebes, as well as earlier we witnessed the arrival of Minister Per Mushelenga, who is the Minister of International Relations. Just have a look at the heroine we are commemorating and saying goodbye to today. She was born in 1945, November 16th in Keetmanshoop. She then began her journey in Lüderitz. Her formative years were marked by a growing awareness of injustices faced by herself and, of course, her community, which ignited a lifelong commitment to the liberation struggle. She joined the SWAPO in 1966. Of course, laying the groundwork for her future activism, she fought alongside revered figures like Reverend Isaac Friedrichs, Justina Gous, and a few others. As we wait for the remains to make its way to Lion State, let's have a look at just some of the roles that she played in the liberation movement. You know, just transitioning from a kindergarten teacher, she quickly became a voice for justice. The late Honorable as
we are about to receive the casket that contains the remains of our iconic heroine, Mrs. Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros. And we will remain standing as associated rituals will be completed before the singing of the national anthems. I also announce, with the arrival of the casket is the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Sarah Gwengela Madila, who is also here in her capacity as the representative of the Chief Mourner, the President of the Republic, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba.
Start with the official program. We are witnessing the arrival of heroine Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros, accompanied by the Right Honorable Dr. Sarah Kokengalwa, who is the chief mourner representative today. Honorable Sarah Kokengalwa, accompanied also by the General John. Of course, a great heroine, a woman of remarkable qualities. She raised many as her own, and I'm joined here by Jackie Onesimus, one of the children that Mekulu, as some of them used to refer to her as, raised. Good morning, Jackie, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning to all the listeners as well.
Let's look at some of the personal sacrifices the late Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros had to make for yourself as a child and all her children, especially during the formative years of her walk.
Uma Ita was a very remarkable woman. She raised, and I mean a lot of love. She had no specific child. Each and every child who grew up during the 70s. She is that woman who showed her love, her care. She was always friendly. She would scold if she has to, and she will speak her mind. And during those times, it was a very, very difficult time where blacks were not allowed to enter certain areas, where blacks were not allowed to say certain things. And she got arrested simply because she said, when the plant fighters come, give them food and water, because they are our children. And obviously they are our brothers and sisters as well. Just for that, she got arrested.
You know, that is one of the very famous statements that she made, and you know, being arrested was some of the very personal sacrifices that she had to make, especially during a time like this, while she had kids of her own. You know, some of her children were also then born during that time. But what do you remember are just some of the very personal sacrifices that she made, that you also felt a day like today, this was the reasons why the late Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros raised us in this way?
I would remember her for her bravery. She will go into areas that are no-go areas. She will say what is on her mind. She would reprimand us, guide us, and lead us. She was a woman of honor. That is one thing, and you cannot take away from her. Apart from that, the hero that she was remained, and she died as a hero.
As we almost conclude, she was conferred a heroine. I'm sure for the family, the kids such as yourself who's now also a grown adult, you guys thought this is a deserving conferment. What do you take us through that? Just tell us how the family feels, you as the children feel.
It was the most exciting moments because for a woman of a stature to have gotten a hero status, it didn't actually take us by surprise. She deserved it. She really, really deserved it because of the sacrifices that she has done for this country. But not only that, she gave birth to a son while she was incarcerated. Her son passed away. To bury her son. And this is something that can be very through it with the strength. She lived, she saw a free Namibia, and I am so happy. The children grew up in the 80s. She took us all and treated us all as her own children. And then there is food, despite whether there's enough or not. She shared it with everybody. When there is no water, nobody will get anything. So she was that person who was fair, just with anybody and everybody, and very friendly. She had an ever smile that never disappeared, and I'm certain she went to her grave with that smile, happy that she has done what she could do. She has made a sacrifice, and she contributed to the freedom of Namibia.
Just before you go, you mentioned that she wanted to see a free Namibia, but that did not mean that she stopped. Just even in her last days, she helped kids. She had a kindergarten. Everybody and anyone was still welcome, even during her last days. Talk to us about that, the continuation of her work, the children.
Oma Ita was a remarkable woman. Even days and welcome them. Woman of lived with honor. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. They are just like their mother.
Well, let's cross over to the Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Yvonne Dowsap, as we start the program of the memorial service and special broadcast.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning, dear mourners. My name is Yvonne Dausap, the Minister of Justice and the Director of Proceedings. Right Honorable Dr. Sarah Gwengela Madila, Prime Minister, and the representative of the Chief Mourner, and Mr. Madila, Mr. Michael Jimmy, son, and other children of the late Mrs. Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros, and the entire bereaved family. Honorable Loida Kasingo, although I have not seen her yet, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, honorable members, honorable ministers and deputy ministers, Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, honorable members of Parliament. I also don't see Honorable McHenry Venani, the President of PDM and the leader of the official opposition, Honorable Aleta Fredericks, Governor of the Kharas region, Honorable Jeremias Huyeman, Beersheba Constituency Councillor, and in light of my recognition of the Honorable Fredericks, I also want to recognize the presence of other governors, Gaup Emmanuel Nwakhatsep, Chairperson of the Council of Traditional Leaders, and other Gaups present and all other traditional leaders present, Her Excellency Ms. Jovelina A.A. Imperial Acosta, Ambassador of the Republic of Angola, and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and all the members of the Diplomatic Corps present. Service chiefs, veterans of the liberation struggle, and all other SWAPO wings, Pastor Abel Fries of the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, fellow mourners. During this very solemn and sad occasion, laced with undertones of remembrance, reflection, and the celebration of a life well lived, the moment in history, as some would recount, that we remember the life of a formidable, courageous, persistent, and relentless, fearless freedom fighter, and unwavering heroine, the indomitable Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros. During his first visit to the house, which was followed by the conferment of the status of heroine, His Excellency President Dr. Nangolo Mumba said, and I quote, "We all have our own history. We have our records. Comrade Ida Jimmy has a record that cannot be questioned. She was such an imposing figure," he said, "with deep roots in our struggle for liberation," end of quote. Fellow mourners, including those that are following on social media and the digital platforms, welcome to Snip River, the place that was home to Oma Ida for 24 years. It's been 16 days since her sad passing on 3 April 2024. It is also today, 65 years ago, that the SWAPO Party was birthed as a liberation movement. What a revolutionary coincidence that this iconic struggle hero, also a staunch SWAPO member until her passing, is having her funeral and burial service during this weekend. We are here to pay tribute to a heroine, in the words of the late President Hage G. Geingob, "May his soul continue to rest in power," is a, and I quote, "mortal who had done something so far beyond the normal scope of human experience that she left an immortal memory behind when she died." We should therefore not take our nationhood, peace, and unity for granted. Let her legacy of selflessness, consistent and fearless fight against any form of injustice be our guiding light for the future. So welcome. And now I call on us all, as we prepare for some spiritual nurturing, to sing heartily from Ha-Eiros 314, Omein Biriro 163, Ehangano 358. After which, I call on Pastor Abel Fries from the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, Keetmanshoop, for the devotion and prayer. Ha-Eiros 314, Omein Biriro 163, Ehangano 358. I will ask the governor of the Karas region to maybe start the song.
Good morning, dear mourners, brothers and sisters in Christ. May I greet you all this morning in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, the risen Lord. May I also invite you to listen with me what the Creator God wants to say this morning to us all. Let me also acknowledge the leadership, all protocol present here. I am obliged and privileged to stand here as a humble servant of the Lord to just encourage and motivate us all and say there is only one way that all of us will go, and that is the God's way. Therefore, allow me to conduct this devotion by reading together with you on this historical day where we celebrate and commemorate, think back, the life of our late liberation icon, comrade Ha-Eiros. I want to read together with you out of Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, chapter 40. I will read some verses from 10, where God assured a nation that was sitting in hopelessness, where they were uncertain about their future. He says the following: do not be afraid. I am with you. I am your God. Let nothing terrify you. I will make you strong and help you. I will protect you and save you. Those who are angry with you will know the shame of defeat. Those who fight against you will die and will disappear from the earth. I am the Lord your God. I strengthen you and say, do not be afraid. I will help you. Thus says the word of the Lord. Dear mourners, dear brothers and sisters, as I have read through this text, I have observed and picked up some very important message to us all this morning. Yes, we are going through difficult times like our late mother. As we all know, the liberation struggle was bitter. And in all these circumstances, this Iron Lady never, but never deserted God. A Christian lady, Ha-Eiros. She stand firm because she believed in the power of the Lord. Lord of mercies, what says this morning? Don't be afraid of the powers of this world, because I am the most powerful God. Don't be afraid, don't be terrified, because I am with you. I will be with you, even after this burial of your mother, our comrade, because I am the Creator God. I will carry you through. I will never forsake you, because I am not a human being that can lie. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Alpha and Omega. I think today, we as family children, As a Namibian nation, the Swapo Party, today we can say, sing unto the Lord a new song. Because this Iron Lady fought against the imperialistic oppressive regime of South Africa. And today, we can eat the fruits of independence. Therefore, let's bow our heads up because the Lord is looked down on us with his mercy. Let me close, dear mourners, and I think that was maybe the last words of Comrade Ida Jimmy, and that is written in Psalm 4, verse 9. When she said, and I think that was also the last words in the hospital on 3rd of April, when I lay down, I Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros, I go to sleep in peace. You alone, O Lord, keep me perfectly safe. May the good Lord strengthen us in this typical time. Amen. Let us pray. Heavenly, most gracious Lord, Creator of heaven and earth, you are the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end of our lives. We thank thee for thy grace and love and mercy. Thank you, Lord, that you have brought us safe here on this farm of our late heroine, mother, grandmother, daughter of the soil, Namibian soil. Thank you for your grace to her. Thank you, Lord, that you will carry us through this day until the last end. Come now, we need your presence and guide us through. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Thank you very much.
You're watching a special broadcast on the
Thank
state
you,
funeral
Pastor
of a liberation
Abel
struggle
Fries, for a
fighter
reminder
of note.
that not only did our heroine, Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros, fought a good fight and finished the race, that we have hope in the blood that was shed on the cross of Calvary, and that our God is our refuge. I now call on Uhuru Ignatius Michael Dempers, himself a man with deep footprints in the liberation struggle of our beloved country and honored with the most distinguished order of Namibia First Class, to deliver the eulogy. Mr. Dempers.
Mr. Uhuru Dempers, also a luminary in the civil society as well as the liberation struggle, who will then deliver the eulogy of the late Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. Of course, there will be other messages as well today, which I will share with you shortly.
Karere kuba ding omse, iding hanwa na kareng iding anung onsa. Karere kuba ding omse, ikain digo apti kuip habebata urure. Praise the Lord, O my soul, and everything within me, his holy name. Praise the Lord, O my soul, and do not forget any of his blessings, of his gifts. Psalm 103, verses 1 and 2. Oh yes, we are gathered today on the banks of Snip River to agree in testimony that our mother, Ida Jiming Ha-Eiros, was indeed one of the greatest gifts to our family, to Namibia, and to humanity. Allow me to stand by the protocol whilst recognizing the government leadership under the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the church leadership under Dean Abel Fries, Dean of the Keetmanshoop Circuit, traditional leadership, and the international community under the leadership of the Ambassador of Angola. I also acknowledge my family, the uncles and the aunts, my sisters and brothers. I feel very small for this task, and actually standing in for Uncle Alpheus Ngarusep, who would have been more qualified to present this genealogy of our mother. Allow me to present this brief profile of Mother Ida Jiming Ha-Eiros under a framework borrowing from Frantz Fanon. He was one of a few extraordinary thinkers supporting the decolonization struggle occurring after World War II. And he remains amongst the most widely read and influential of these voices. Frantz Fanon is best known for his statement, and I quote, "Each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it." End of quote. Elke generasie moet sy opdrag vervul of die opdrag verraai. Dit is die quotatie uit Frantz Fanon uit. When presenting the life and times of Mother Ida, we do not only reflect her story, but that of a generation of her times. When concluding Mother Ida's story, we will ask the question, did she betray their mission, her mission, or fulfill it? We will also challenge the current generation, us, with the same question. What's happening to our mission? Are we betraying or are we fulfilling our mission? Mother Ida saw the sunrise on the 16th of November 1945 in Keetmanshoop, Tsaipkwas, Tsaiplagte. 16th November is a historically and important day, as it was declared by the United Nations as the Day of Tolerance. 1945, the year our mother was born, marks the end of World War II, after Germany surrendered, as well as Japan after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bomb blast. Mother Ida's grandmothers were Laban Jimmy, hailing from Chimbingwe, Atas, and grandmother Naomi Jar, later married Jimmy, from the Aman clan in the Petane area, Uikandes. Mother Ida's grandparents were the generation that resisted German colonial occupation and are survivors of the first genocide of the 20th century. Her grandparents, especially from this area of the Aman clan, were brutalized at the notorious Shark Island concentration camp. Mother Ida's mother was Oma Justina Jimmy, later married Gous, and Opa Theophilus Caputo. Oma Justina married whilst Mother Ida was still a minor to Opa Hendrik Johannes Gous, and she was brought up by him in their households. On the maternal side, from the Justine and Hendrik Gous household, Mother Ida Jimmy's siblings were Amanda Jimmy, Joanna Jimmy, Hendrik Gous, Daniel Gous, and Laban Gous. Mother Ida Jimmy was the third eldest of the siblings and was the last surviving. Therefore, her passing also marks an end of an era for our family. On the paternal side, from Mother Ida's father, Kamutuntu Theophilus Caputo's household, the following are her siblings. Yanda Caputo, which is late, Katuta Caputo, the late Professor Dr. Chari Povantu Caputo, Frida Wanja Caputo, Wario Jefta Caputo, Papewa Caputo, and Anna Marie Caputo. Mother Ida was the firstborn from her father's side. Mother Ida would otherwise be born in Lutherets, but at the time of her birth, her mother, Oma Justina, was visiting family elders, Oma Urup and Oma Gurihas in Keetmanshoop. Therefore, 5 days after her birth, the mother moved back to Lutherets. Therefore, we consider Mother Ida a proud Buchter. Ama ngaminguis tikwanske. Mother Ida Jimmy was baptized and confirmed in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in the Republic of Namibia, formerly also known as the ELC in Southwest Africa, Rainis Mission in Lutherets. We are proud that our mother was an ecumenical worshipper, and she worshiped the Lord with many other Christians from other denominations. Education and training. Mother Ida attended lower primary school in Lutherets at the St. Peter's Primary School and Junior Secondary School on distance mode through Lyceum College from South Africa. The Bornfries will not know these names, like Lyceum College and Success College and others. Due to her love and affection for children and the realization of the importance of early childhood education, Mother Ida took up specialized training in early childhood education from the Heinz Stoven Seminary of the ELCRN in Garibeb. This renowned educational center was offering training programs for kindergarten and hostel teachers. Mother Ida briefly worked as a kindergarten teacher in Lutretz at the ELCRN parish after completion of her training. Mother Ida understood already then what UNICEF and other agencies are promoting today, that early childhood education is the most important foundation of education, and that the first 1,000 days of the child's life is the most important. Therefore, as the current generation of leaders, let's critically review the investments we are making in early childhood education. We celebrate Mother Ida as a great educator. Political activities, and here we will just highlight a few. We had memorial services where a number of people have already narrated the political work of our mother, and this will be just a synopsis of her political work. Mother Ida became politically active in the activities of SWAPO in 1966 in Lutretz, already at the age of 21 years. And joined SWAPO with the likes of the late Reverend Isaac Frederick, Justina Gous, her mother, Rebecca Shombe, and others. Mother Ida was issued her first SWAPO membership card 52 years ago in Oshikuku. From 1972 till 1978, Mother Ida worked at Swafield Fishing Company in Lutretz as a rock lobster packer and was later promoted to the position of a supervisor. Mother Ida immediately observed unfair labor practices and started to raise her voice against injustice at the workplace. Mother Ida saw discriminatory practices being committed by the white owners and managers towards black workers. Local workers from Lutretz and the south, as well as those coming through the contract labor system from the northern parts of Namibia, received inhumane treatment from the white managers and owners. Because of her strong opposition to these unfair practices, which were viewed as political disturbance by Swafield Fishing Company, Mother Ida was dismissed from her work without a fair hearing. Subsequently, her father, Hendrik Gous, was also fired from work after 27 years of service without any pay or compensation because of her daughter's involvement in political activities. Mother Ida was elected to various positions in the party, including in 1977 as SWAPO Women's Council chairperson, as well as advisor to the executive committee of the Lutretz branch. Whilst operating under harsh political conditions and with limited resources, Mother Ida continued to establish SWAPO sections at workplaces throughout Lutretz and southern Namibia, as trade unions, as we know them today, did not exist then. Mother Ida, together with other comrades, organized the whole of Lutretz, Aus, Karasberg, Rospina, Keetmansop, and Gipion. During those years, she worked closely with the likes of Comrade Anton Luboski, late Magdalena Ipinge, Willie Mvula, and others. Detention, harassment, and ill treatment. Mother Ida suffered the most under the brutal colonial apartheid regime, undergoing torture, solitary confinement, and harassment. For example, on the morning of 4th May 1978, Mother Ida was arrested and detained for 1 day without any case against her. When she was released, she heard from the radio and from her comrades about the gruesome attack on Kasinga on the day that she was arrested. The following day, on the 5th of May, is when she was fired from her work. Early in 1979, Comrade Matthew Abram, chairperson of the Lutherans branch, was poisoned and died. Comrade started to demand answers from the security establishment, but subsequently Mother Ida was again arrested and imprisoned in Gobabe's prison under AG 26 for 9 months and 3 weeks with a 1-year-old baby boy, Na Tangwe Jimmy. After her release, Mother Ida was put under strict house arrest for 1 year and could only receive less than 5 visitors at a time. As part of her political mobilization work, Mother Ida used to address public rallies throughout Namibia. One such rally was held in Lutherets, where Mother Ida was one of the main speakers. While addressing this public rally in Lutherets, she was arrested for the following words or the following statement. Kamerade, kom ons gee die Swapo-vryheidsvegters kos en water. Hulle is ons seuns, broers en manne. Comrades, let's give the Swapo freedom fighters, the plant fighters, food and water. They are our sons, brothers, and husbands. The above statement was viewed as treason and as supporting terrorism activities and led to Mother Ida's arrest under AG 9. When the case was eventually heard before the High Court, a judgment was delivered of 7 years imprisonment. Bishop Sefania Kameda, then a local parish pastor in Lutherets, was given the difficult task to convey the news of a long imprisonment of Mother Ida to her family. The sentence was appealed and lowered to 5 years, and Mother Ida was held in solitary confinement at the Windhoek Central Prison. When Mother Ida was sentenced on 15th October 1980, she was already 7 months pregnant and gave birth on 18th December 1980 to a baby boy that was rightfully called Konjeleni. We are fighting. Mother Ida's sister's daughter, Julia Jimmy, wanted to adopt the baby after his birth, but the apartheid colonial prison authorities didn't allow it, saying it was a prison baby. The baby boy was also punished for the political activities of his mother. Although Namibia is free and independent, and we pray to God Almighty that such a regime will never, ever return to Namibia that treats children in this inhumane way, we still see brutality and killing of innocent children on a daily basis nowadays on our television screens. And therefore salute our government for their brave stance against the brutal apartheid colonial government of Israel. Comrade Minister of Justice, we saw you at The Hague, and we are proud of your presentation in defense of the people of Palestine. We regrettably also see this brutality against innocent women and children in our households. Konjeleni was eventually released in the care of Julia Jimmy when he was 2 years old. The baby boy was brought to Lutherets to his grandmother, Auma Justine. Konjeleni struggled to adjust to life outside of prison. He was missing his beloved mother too much, and his health deteriorated, and he passed on in 1983. The family of Mother Ita tried all they could to have Mother Ita at least attend the burial of her beloved son. They applied to the prison authorities, however, this was turned down. Family was even prepared to move the funeral to the town where Mother Ita was serving her sentence, but appeals from Mother Ita's mother was ignored by the colonial authorities. Mother Ita's children were in the care of their grandmother until her release in 1985, whereafter she handed them over, and shortly thereafter, in less than a year, rested peacefully. Mother Ita completed her sentence on 15th October 1985, and upon her release was received by a joyful crowd of comrades in Windhoek and Lutherets. In 1987, Mother Ita had the opportunity for further studies, and the SWAPO office in London organized a placement for her at the Eulogy College in Birmingham, United Kingdom, for a 2-year program. Whilst in the United Kingdom, she also continued mobilizing for support towards the liberation movement. Upon her return from the United Kingdom, Mother Ita resumed her calling in the education sector and initiated the Namibia Children's Preschool at the old single quarters in Katutura. During the student uprising in Namibia in the late 1980s, under the leadership of Nanso, Mother Ita joined the Students' March on 3rd of June 1988 around the Emmanuel Shifiti High School. The students undertook mass demonstrations around schools in Windhoek, and these peaceful demonstrations were disrupted by the Kufut and SWAT-EF and SADF forces. 2 heavily armed Kufut members deliberately targeted Mother Ita, recklessly pulling her right arm, causing serious injury to the extent that it was dislocated. Until her final days, Mother Ita couldn't use this arm for simple daily activities such as cooking, washing, or ironing as a result of this injury. In 1989, Mother Ita was deployed to her hometown Lutherets as part of the SWAPO election campaign machinery and was appointed election head and district coordinator for Lutherets till 1992. Subsequently, the SWAPO party appointed Mother Ita as the SWAPO regional coordinator from 1992 to 1989. During the same period, Mother Ita was also nominated as the candidate for the party during the first regional and local government elections and won decisively as the regional coordinator for Keetmansop Urban constituency. In conclusion, her family life. In her early life, the pressures of the struggle for freedom denied Mother Ita a normal family life as a woman, as a mother, and as a family member. She was separated for many years from her children due to imprisonment, but also as a result of assignments by the liberation movement. On 1st October 1988, Mother Ita Jimmy married a handsome man from Tsumeb, Aupa Werner Ha-Eiros, in Windhoek at the Ephesians Lutheran Church. Father Werner was also a freedom fighter in his own right, and the marriage was a political match. The couple went through exciting and challenging times with their children and grandchildren. Mother Ita also had the opportunity to take her husband back to the United Kingdom on a holiday or maybe a delayed honeymoon and showed him around the places she moved around during her stay in the United Kingdom. Apart from participating in political activities, the couple also developed serious interest in precious stones and obtained licenses in exploration and mining of these stones. They also provided support and advice to other small-scale miners. In this regard, Mother Ita, with other women from Namibia and Zambia, also participated in an expo on precious stones in Italy. In addition, the Jimin Ha-Eiros family also ventured into farming after retirement from politics and settled in 2000 on farm Snebrefir. In 2015, after a marriage of 27 years, Mother Ita bid farewell to her beloved husband and laid him to rest on farm Snebrefir with the promise to join him when her day comes. Therefore, let's not delay this long-awaited reunion after almost a decade. Oupa Werner wag sy vrou. In addition to farming on Snebrefir, Mother Ita again regained with her calling to provide educational opportunities for children. Several years ago on this farm, Mother Ita started an early childhood center named Help the Helpless Daycare and Preschool Center for children from farms around farm Snebrefir. Mother Ita was not well for a while and has been in and out of hospital several times. Beginning of this year, her health deteriorated and she spent more than a month in hospitals in Keetmanshoop and Windhoek. Mother Ita went back during Easter weekend to hospital, and her son said on the 3rd of April 2024, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the Keetmanshoop State Hospital. Mother Ita will be remembered as a brave and courageous freedom fighter, a dedicated teacher, especially for early childhood, a mining explorer, a farmer, a devoted prayer woman, and a committed and faithful servant of her people. For the few we mentioned in this eulogy and the many not mentioned and unknown deeds, we the people of Namibia, through our government, a government born from these difficult and painful struggles, rightfully declare her as a national heroine. We, without a doubt, declare that Mother Ita and her generation didn't betray their mission and have fulfilled it. And therefore, after a mission accomplished, we commit as the current generation to continue the fight for economic freedom in our lifetime. We commit to fight that the God-given resources of Namibia will be enjoyed by all and not a few. We shall march forward to decent housing and quality health care for all. We shall continue to work for just and fair land redistribution. We shall march for restorative justice and for quality early childhood education. My mother, our mother, thank you for what you have done for us as your children and for the children of Namibia. Now may God grant you the eternal rest and reward you greatly in his heavens. And I thank you.
Thank you, Uhuru Dempers, for a beautiful reflection of our unwavering heroine. Right Honorable Prime Minister, we will now move over to the tribute segment, which Honorable Ben Ulenga, a former Member of Parliament and politician, would have led on behalf of comrades and friends. I understand, though, that he is not here. Unless there is someone else ready to present the tribute on behalf of friends, we will consider him for the presentation should he join us later. Accordingly, I now call on Michael Jimmy, a man just like his mom. Our Oma Ida needs no introduction, will deliver a message on behalf of the children. Mr. Michael Jimmy.
Director of Proceedings, Honorable Minister Yvonne Dousap, the Minister of Justice, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Sarah Kugungola Amadila, and her husband, Honorable Ministers present, Honorable Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, and other dignitaries present, and I stand by the protocol as already established to deliver this tribute on behalf of my siblings. A mother is a very important person in the nucleus of a family. Besides bringing us into life, they keep us intact and take care of us during our infancy. Mothers also give us unconditional love. They are our first problem solvers, and they guide us during our early years. However, to us as the siblings, this has been robbed from us by the notorious AG-26 and as well as the Draconian Terrorism Act robbed us that opportunity during our infancy to get that love, that guidance, and attention. It is these draconian laws that also impacted us, even way many years after this happened to us, to the extent that that experience still reverberates within the three of us. The evidence is still, or the effects of this is still present. What further exacerbated this was the loss of our younger brother, Konjeleni, especially as it became evident that after so many years, we cannot find his grave. And she went home with that pain in her heart because she wanted closure to the burial site of Konjeleni. My brother Uhuru has just mentioned how we remember her, how we will remember her, as well as during the past week, we heard of so many good things that she has done. But to us as children, she was a beacon of strength and courage whose legacy resonates through generations. Her unwavering commitment to freedom, justice, and equality ignited a flame in our hearts, guiding us to stand tall in the face of adversity. We know that she went on this journey of this struggle with the ultimate aim of freedom, but more importantly, to secure a better life for us, her children. Something that we, as the children, have not taken for granted. On this journey of her incarceration, we were labeled all sorts of names. Children of terrorists, jailbird's children. Some even say, what have you got after your mother went to prison? But as children, we were not moved by all such names. She always wanted the best out of us, and we are grateful for what she has instilled into us as children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We will miss her laughter and her calls just to check on us, to find out how we are and why we are so quiet. But most importantly, when are we coming home? The grandchildren, when we were writing this, reminded me to make it a point to emphasize that very aspect that makes her so unique as a mother. You know, if it's your birthday, she would bake you a cake. And most of the times, these cakes were in the colors of the SWAPO party. And as one of the grandchildren remarked, we grew so tired of eating these SWAPO cakes, But nevertheless, that was the person she was. She loved SWAPO party, and she could convey that message in that way through her grandchildren. Of course, she loved cooking and made really good food. Even though since 2013, when she was not mobile anymore, she would sit down, get all the different ingredients, and ensure that we have a great meal as children. She loved looking good, even though she was immobile. She would always put on makeups, put on lipstiffies, and she really loved looking good. One of the things that she also did well was she would call you very early in the morning, if it's your birthday, and start singing to you, happy birthday. Sometimes, if you are old like me, the elders, you would just join in the chorus and make sure that she also is appreciated. She was very overprotective of us, and she didn't want us to be shared with any other of the family, possibly to cover the void that was there of many years. That is why she was so protective of us. When she is with us, she just wanted her peace with us. We will miss her humility and her Ubuntu, where she opened her house to many other children, whom we call our brothers and sisters today. Uhuru, who was just speaking before me, during the student uprising in the 1980s, whilst I was schooling in Arandas, I just got a call that your brother has been arrested. But I said, Natangwe is still young. How can they arrest him? No, we are not talking about Natangwe. Your brother Uhuru has been arrested. I said, since when does Uhuru stay there? And I was told, no, he has been there since the uprising started, just like any other kids that she took in after their families threw them out because of their involvement in the struggle. So she took them in. So Uhuru is one of those brothers and sisters. Sandra overseas that you see around here are one of those sisters that we have gained. And then there are others, new ones that came, such as Mr. Comrade Blau and many others. We will remember her. And she had that canny way. You know, when she realized that you went out the night or you watched TV till late and didn't obey her orders to switch off the TV, she would wear high heels and walk up and down early morning on the plank, floors, these wooden floors, just to get your attention to wake up. So you know how annoying that is. And then she will get her way. Her teachings of respecting elders and everyone, irrespective of the person's position in life or status in society, resonates with us. She had a caring heart. Even though we are adults, she used to take care and look after us. Despite her strength and stubbornness, as referred to by many during this week, she had a soft heart and cared for all of us equally. And when something happened to one of the three of us, she was equally very worried, especially at times when we fell ill. She would make sure that she go all out to make sure that we get the necessary attention. There was once an incident, and I didn't want her to drink a capsule. And she realized that I threw it next to the bed. And then when she realized that, she came, put that capsule into my mouth, pull it down in my throat, and say, "You want me to see you dying or what?" So those were her caring nature. We therefore thank the Almighty God for having given us this mother, despite the fact that she was shared with the nation. She spent much time with our children and her great-grandchildren, an attention that we as children could not get. We equally want to thank the leadership of the SWAPO party under the founding father of the Namibian nation and first president of the Republic of Namibia during those dark days, because it was through him that many other comrades mobilized support for us and took care of us. And we really want to appreciate that. We equally want to thank the unwavering support we received from the late Dan Chongarero, the late Nico Bessinger, late Jefta Maharero. These were our fathers. And they would always come around and check on us and ask, "How are you? Do you have everything?" I remember the late Jefta Maharero, who was then the stepfather of my closest friend, Faniel Kapama. During one holiday, he would buy, every afternoon I go from the family house, their family house, he would buy 2 loaves of bread for me to take home. That just symbolizes that support that we get from the internal leadership at the time. Bishop Emeritus Stefania Kamieta, who opened his house and made us to sleep in his house under his care. To be associated those years with these people, it was dangerous. People like the late Salmon Gamatam, late Franz Kapangula, Ben Ulenga at the time, who was when they were released in 1985, and all Robben Islanders were also released, Comrade Ben and my mother, together with Comrade Ruben Itengula, shared a house. And in 1986, when she left for the UK, we were under the care of Comrade Ben Ulenga and late Ruben Itengula. And it is during this time that we met the fiercest terrorists that time, people like Kahumba Kandola, who would come to our house for meetings. And I remember one day he remarked to me, I was going out. He looked at me and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "No, I'm just going next door." And he looked at me and said, "Go back. Don't go out in the street without a weapon," realizing that I didn't wear a belt. So men should always wear a belt. So Kahumba Kandola instilled that to me, which I do until today. Late Reverend Nashonga, Auntie Myrtle Smith, Meme Alina Shipanga, Meme Selma Kapia. Of course, the Council of Churches in Namibia played a crucial role in paying for our tuition, school tuition at that time, and giving us money to go holidays home. Hartmut Ruppel, Advocate Hartmut Ruppel, would always brief us about the case and how they are doing to ensure that she gets released. Late Anton Lebowski, the International Red Cross Society, who managed to organize transport for us to visit our mother in prison. And the very first time Deshi went, she was very small, and she could not understand why the mother is behind the glass using a phone to talk to her. And she wanted to go in, but that was not allowed. So those are the experiences we had as children of our mother. Of course, the leadership that sits here today played a major role also in our upbringing, and we also indebted to them. The second and the third president should also not be forgotten. Therefore, as children and great-grandchildren, we will carry her spirit forward, honoring her remarkable journey and the sacrifices she made for a better tomorrow. May her legacy continue to inspire hope and resilience in all of us who will follow in her footsteps. Mother, as I can call you today, because when you're alive, we only say Zali or comrade. But Mother, you will be forever in our hearts, and we love you forever. I salute you.
Thank you, Michael Jimmy. On behalf of his siblings, I also see Ndeshi in the front row, for unselfishly sharing your mom with Namibia. We share in the depth of your pain for this incredible loss. Before I ask that we sing, I acknowledge the presence of the NDF chaplain, Wing Commander Tauku Heke, and other clergy present. Right on the Prime Minister, with your indulgence, I would like to make a slight change to the program before I call on Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, the Secretary General of the SWAPO Party. I would like to read two messages that have not been provided for in the program, if you allow me to do so. But before I read those two important messages, one from Dr. Kayamo, who is now the ambassador for Namibia to China, and Emeritus Bishop Zephanias Kamieta's messages before I call our Secretary General. Thank you for your indulgence. I now call fellow mourners to sing with me from Ngai Ekhanis 166, Omeimbiriro 100, Ehangano 160. Remember, while we mourn, we are also celebrating a life well lived. So let's sing with an open heart and spirit so that the doors of heaven open to receive the spirit of our heroine. Namibia's anti-apartheid and liberation struggle fighter, dated April 17, 2024, Beijing, China. Dear mourners, family and friends, perched atop a gentle incline in the lively town of Keetmanshoop, we find the modest dwelling of Comrade Ida Jimmy, a former activist who dedicated her life to challenging the oppressive apartheid regime in Namibia. Even in her absence, the Keetmanshoop community and Namibia as a whole, whom she tirelessly served, have come together in large numbers to grieve her departure and say goodbye to their cherished Oma Idas, a term of affection that honors her nurturing nature and unwavering commitment to their cause. Even in death, she remains a symbol of unwavering defiance that characterized her existence and lasting impact. Comrade Ida Jimmy's passing on April 4, 2024, at the age of 79, profoundly impacted the SWAPO party and the entire Namibian nation, leaving a significant void in our hearts. Advocating for a free Namibia was not widely accepted at the time, but Oma Ida fearlessly and courageously stood up against the oppressive apartheid regime. As a dedicated mother, she was a source of inspiration and hope for numerous Namibians, showcasing her unwavering resolve and relentless determination for an independent Namibia. Namibia deeply mourns the passing of an extraordinary individual renowned for her steadfast dedication to dismantling apartheid and her relentless work in nurturing a future generation of Namibian leaders. In her early youth, Comrade Ida Jimmy was a remarkable kindergarten teacher in Lüderitz during the apartheid years. During her years as a teacher, the extreme cruelty of apartheid profoundly affected her. The injustice and cruelty she observed ignited a profound sense of determination within her, fueling a fierce resolve to resist and challenge the oppressive system. She embraced the cause of opposing apartheid, joining the fight for a more equitable Namibia and a fairer world. Despite the constraints imposed by the Bantustan boundaries under the apartheid regime and the prohibitions against black people from freely moving in then Namaland and Ovamboland, with bravery and enthusiasm, she became a member of SWAPO in 1972 and passionately supported Namibia's fight for freedom and self-determination. Comrade Ida became the SWAPO Women Council chairperson in 1977 and served as an advisor to the executive committee of the Lüderitz branch. She held on to these positions until she was imprisoned in 1978. Comrade Ida was a strong, fearless, and eloquent advocate who courageously exposed the falsehoods and cruelty of the apartheid regime in Namibia. She fearlessly confronted those in positions of authority, boldly expressing her beliefs without hesitation when such actions demanded great bravery and unwavering faith. Her steadfast dedication to the cause of a fair and equal Namibia ignited the spirits of young individuals, instilling in them a glimmer of hope and a clear direction. Comrade Ida Jimmy remained steadfast in pursuing her aspirations, undeterred by the repeated instances of arrest and detention. Despite being incarcerated together with her young son for months in Gobabis, she demonstrated an unparalleled strength of character and unwavering dedication to a cause that is just and equitable. Oma Ida's unwavering commitment to Namibia's autonomy led to her one-year house arrest in Lüderitz. Despite her suffering and sacrifices during this time, she never wavered in her advocacy. Her courage and resilience in adversity are a powerful example for us all to follow. Her steadfast commitment to the cause is truly inspiring. After Namibia's democratic breakthrough in 1990, Comrade Ida Jimmy dedicated herself to sharing her wisdom and experiences with the younger generation. Comrade Ida's resolute bravery and relentless commitment to the SWAPO party and the Namibian liberation movement are of note in Namibia's political history and will continue to inspire countless individuals. In light of that, Namibia's founding president, Sam Nujoma, expressed gratitude for her outstanding contributions in 2001. In 2009, former President Hifikepunye Pohamba acknowledged her valuable contributions. Namibian leaders have recognized her efforts. In the face of countless arrests and brutal prison conditions, Ida and her comrades displayed unwavering determination in their fight against the oppressive regime. Through her work, she illuminated the path to combating the oppressive nature of the capitalist apartheid regime and laying bare its long-standing atrocities. Her impact on black women and men's struggles is immeasurable, and she stood alongside other influential figures in the fight for Namibia's liberation. Comrade Ida Jimmy played a crucial role in Namibia's liberation struggle, contributing as a guerrilla supporter, ex-combatant, and political activist. She contributed significantly to the liberation movement's success, playing a crucial role in the battle against apartheid in Namibia. Her relentless commitment to the mission was a driving force for others despite the harsh realities of the fight she had to endure. As a dedicated political activist, she devoted herself to increasing awareness of the fight against apartheid, both locally in Namibia and in many eyes, contributing on a global scale. Comrade Ida Jimmy and other women like her significantly contributed to women's triumph in the liberation movement. As fighters, activists, and supporters of guerrilla warfare, their involvement in the fight demonstrated immense bravery and dedication to the cause. Their endeavors inspired fellow women during the fight for freedom and impacted generations of women even after Namibia gained independence. We should acknowledge and honor these remarkable women and their invaluable contributions as they exemplify the strength and determination of women in challenging circumstances. Namibians will always appreciate her steadfast dedication to freedom, justice, and equality. This is because Black women in Namibia endured numerous challenges under the oppressive regime, grappling with the intersecting forces of patriarchy and racism. Regardless of these challenges, Comrade Ida displayed unwavering dedication in her fight for the liberation of Namibia. Her steadfast devotion and valuable contributions demonstrate her bravery and uncompromising commitment to her mission. Her contributions were instrumental to Namibia's liberation and played an important role in advancing gender equality. Her contributions have impacted the nation's history, illuminating the truth during the broader fight for freedom in this courageous land. May the legacy of Comrade Omar Ida continue to motivate us to approach each day with intention and empathy. May her soul rest in peace. Dr. Elia G. Kayamo, Ambassador, Embassy of the Republic of Namibia in Beijing. I will now also read a word from a painful heart to the beloved ones who are shedding tears. Grace be unto you, says the Emeritus, dear children, family, and comrades, from the one who will wipe away your tears, heal your wound, and lift you up again. I wanted to be with you today, but due to the bodily weakness after a long trip, I could not make it. I met Comrade Ida at the beginning of 1978 in Luderitz, when I was sent to serve our congregation there. There are many things which can be shared about Comrade Ida in the struggle for the liberation of Namibia. But for me, Emeritus Zephania Kamieta, the most outstanding character of her was she was a true Namibian in her heart, words and actions. Yes, indeed, this is how we were in Namibia those years. At the roadblocks, when the South African police asked us to which tribe we belong, we proudly responded, I am Namibian. This resulted many times in ugly words, fighting, or arrests. The pride of being Namibian seems to be fading and replaced by the tribalism and disunity. To honor Comrade Ida correctly in an honest way, let us embrace her legacy as our inheritance from her. Failing to do that, there will be no hope today and tomorrow for Namibia. She trusted in God. Therefore, she had the tastes of eternal life while she was alive, as her reward. Many times, He, the Almighty, rescued her and kept her safe. She is now resting in Him and will rise in His glory. This is our consolation as we cherish her beautiful memory. Amen. That was from Bishop Kamieta. We proceed with our program. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the representative of our chief mourner, President of the Republic, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, family, bereaved family members, the children, fellow mourners, I have just been informed that Comrade Ben Ulenga, who was tasked to give a message on behalf of comrades and friends, has arrived, and I would like to now call on him to deliver his message and or tribute on behalf of friends. Honorable Ben Ulenga, a former member of parliament and a politician in the Namibian body politic.
Honorable Director of the proceedings, Excellencies, Your Honors who are gathered here today to bid farewell to our fallen comrade. First of all, let me apologize humbly for being late. You won't believe me when I tell you that I had to drive right down to the sea and only to be redirected from there that I had missed the road hopelessly and had to go back. And so please, if you can, forgive me for that. However, Director, I should say also, I think the time that you granted me to drive from Windhoek up to here was a bit short. Perhaps we could have used a helicopter or something in that direction. Anyhow, we are sitting here with heavy hearts, even though perhaps there was some attempt there from me to make it a little lighter. The comrade that makes us or bids us gather today here, as far as I know, was the only Namibian woman to be arrested, tried, sentenced to prison, and serve her full sentence throughout the whole struggle for the liberation of our country. I'm not saying that meaning that it's a matter of pride, but I see some distinction there. At least I can say, if there's a way of distinguishing people, that in itself, with almost 2 million women, even more if the dead can be counted in, that's quite a distinction. Anyhow, Director of Ceremonies, I came to know Comrade Ida Jimmy first as a comrade and then also as a friend. We became friends later. I must say, nowadays, we have been walking this road very frequently. Of course, only a few weeks ago, we bid farewell to Comrade Hage Geingob, Excellency the former President of Namibia, many, many others, especially from the group that was imprisoned before independence and for the sake of fighting for their country, had been living one after the other in the few last years. So those of us who the gods have decided that we should live only after the others perhaps, have to carry out the sad task of bidding farewell to those who go ahead of us. There's another problem that I wanted to point out. I've been realizing this as we bury comrades, especially elderly ones. It's quite a big problem to be buried, to be sent off by people who don't belong to your generation. Sometimes it sounds as if you're not speaking the truth. You know, it's like you are just pulling them all out of your pocket when you say this is a person who wasn't the way you saw her live. To those junior ones, young Namibians, who perhaps came to hear about Ida Jimmy only in her old days, I must try to persuade you, make you believe, she wasn't like the way you saw her as she left now. She was, in her time, a brave, strong, and proud, brave freedom fighter. The first time that I met Comrade Jimmy was in 1985. In Windhoek prison, there was a section called the female section. They had another term for it, but of course they meant just that, the female section. So when we came from Robben Island and were headed into that prison, we were put in a section just next to the female section. And very quickly we learned that the brave Ida Jimmy was just in the section next to ours. So there was a wall, 3 meters tall. But fortunately, there was a door in the wall. And there was a keyhole in the door. And so some of us came to the door, looked into the keyhole. Luckily, we saw some female warden walking around on the other side. We shouted at her, hey, call for Ida Jimmy. And you know what? She didn't know who was calling. So she went to call Ida and said, somebody at the door is asking for you. That's how we came to meet Ida, even though we couldn't see each other properly. But at least we could somehow, because we introduced ourselves, not only me, but all those who are present. We were very happy to have met Ida in such a dubious way. It wasn't really a proper meeting. But that was not the first time that I heard of Ida Jimmy. The first time we read about him, and that was while we were still overseas, over the Cape Town Sea. And we read from the newspapers that we happened to get on one occasion, where they talked about a comrade who was arrested while she was 7 months pregnant. We couldn't believe our eyes and ears. What had that woman done that she should be arrested and put in prison without sentence, without being sentenced? 7 months pregnant. Then we read, there's a name, Ida Jimmy. So we were just imagining what type of woman is he, how does she look like, and so on. Of course, that was 1977 or 78. Of course, your imagination can run away with you in that kind of situation. So we read Ida Jimmy, and she was from Lideritz. I personally was thinking, must be a bastard woman. Or perhaps, no, really, because Ida Jimmy can be anybody in Namibia, of course. But then I thought it should be because, I put Jimmy, and perhaps I didn't know too much of Namibia at that time. I have never heard of another Jimmy. I heard of other Jimmys, but anyhow, that's what I thought. But then the things that we read there were quite amazing. They wrote about this woman who went up to the front and met with planned combatants there, who went to cook for planned combatants both in Namibia and in Angola, who then, after that, came back and came to Namibia, came into Windhoek, and she asked to address a public meeting that was a SWAPO public rally that was campaigning for independence. At that time, there was heated campaigns for the carrying out of Resolution 435. Because as you remember well, it was agreed on earlier on in 1978, and then towards the end of 78, I believe, that's when this speech or this meeting happened. The comrade Jimmy stood up at the platform there. The whole rally was surrounded by kofuts in Caspiers. Sambura had cameras. They were filming the meeting. They were taping. They were recording everything that was being said, they were writing down. And when Ija stepped onto the platform, first addressed these people, he said, "Take good note. Tape me, film me, because what I'm saying is true and I'm ready to say it because I'm speaking the truth." So she addressed the people then after that and said, "Your freedom is on the way. Fear not. Don't lose hope. I myself came right now from the north, from the operational area, as it was called then." And then she said, "I saw the freedom fighters." And the police were listening. And then she said, "Everybody sees them. They are not hidden. Everyone in the whole of Ovamboland and Kavango, and then it was called Caprivi, the Zambezi now. You could see them, so it was not my fault that I saw them. But they are armed to the teeth. And they are fighting. And they are chasing around the burkis. So fear not, your liberation is at hand." And of course, you can only imagine how the crowds were cheering. And she has said it, and she said it doesn't matter, no matter if we get arrested today, if we get imprisoned, and even if we get shot and killed at this meeting, there's nobody who can stand in the way of our liberation. That was Comrade Ida Jimmy. Of course, at that time, she had already been detained several times. I think in the previous speech here, I heard that she had gone to Kobabis at that time. I think at the time of the death of Mr. Kapoor, she was detained. And even before that, she had been detained several times. So she was a woman who was quite used to that. Being detained to her was just something that happened almost on every other day. She wasn't afraid of that. And of course, her determination to see Namibia free and independent, and her knowledge that it doesn't happen by people, like they say in another language, I know beauty, goodness wouldn't come from those who are washing their faces clean, or wouldn't come to those who are keeping away from trouble. So she was determined and she was prepared to go to prison if that had to be. Now, the day that I met this woman in prison on the other side of the door, I thought that would be the last, or perhaps I wouldn't see her for a long time. But as things happened, very soon her sentence was about to be finished, and I think towards the end of 1985, she was released after completing her sentence. It's been about 40 years ago. If I'm not mistaken, it was 6 years prison sentence, which she finished in full. As things happened, when she got released, that was also the time that we got released. Those of us who came for the last group that came from Robben Island. And again, as fate would have it, Comrade Ruben Itangula and Comrade Ida and myself were put in one house that we were sharing by the Council of Churches of Namibia. So the Council of Churches were standing in for us, hired a house or rented a house in Katotura, and that's where we lived. For the next year, We lived together, the three of us, together with Ida's kids. Perhaps they have been here already to the podium. Those gentlemen and lady were at that time pickaninnies like this. They were very small. And we stayed with them from 85 to 87, towards the end, I think. And then Ida had to go for abroad, to go for schooling, for education, to London. And we stayed behind with Michael, Deshipanda, and Natangwe. They were the first people to call me Tate. So I felt very proud. Those were my first kids. Of course, we haven't met, especially with Natangwe, in a long time. It's very sad that we have to meet on this sad day. But everything has its day. So if it's ordained that we meet today on this day, so be it. I must say, Ida, like I spoke here now, have demonstrated to me her bravery, her pride, her fierceness, ferocity as a fighter and as a speaker. But there was another side that I haven't known of Ida's. When I was told that we would be living together in this house with this woman, this somebody that I looked at through the keyhole who was walking like a soldier in that prison yard, was a woman with strong legs, with a lit up face, with arms that were swinging like, she's a general kind of, who was dismissing these warders and wardens. I was somehow almost intimidated, I thought, is this a woman that one can live, next to as just an ordinary person? That's when I came to discover another character, another characteristic of Ida's. Because especially there, when we were in the house, she was just a humble, loving, caring mother. Both to the three kids, 3 children, and to Ruben and myself, she was equally kind, friendly, protective, caring. Nobody would come into the house without introducing themselves properly. And she made sure that everything was orderly run in the house. Ida showed us all the love that a mother had to show to her children. We didn't go hungry in that house, even though she was just a tenant like any of us. And then she made sure that we were not molested. She wouldn't allow the police to come in there without making an appointment. Not at all. Fast forward, when she came back from England, I think 1988, then 89 came, there were elections. We all went to vote. At that time, went to vote for the parties that attracted us, or that sort of, what must I say, not really just attracted, but that mattered much to us. But then there was this list, a list of parliamentarians. Actually, at that time, it was a list of members of the Constituent Assembly. far as I was concerned, I was called by somebody who told me that, congratulations, you are on the list. I didn't understand. I asked, and it was explained to me, you are on the Constituent Assembly list. So the next time when I saw the list myself, I was looking for Ida's name, because I knew already I was on the list. If I must tell you the truth, I was really disappointed that she was not on the list. However, I know how many good, brave, useful, everything you can use, all the positive adjectives. There were in Namibia and in the various members of the parties. So it doesn't mean, I thought at that time, of course, and of course I still believe, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be on a list. So I pushed my disappointment aside. But then, Ida then moved out, of course, of Windhoek with time and came to the south. I know that she had some duties to carry out, first in Lüderitz and then I think in Keetmanshoop. And the last few years, she fell ill. And when she fell ill, she continued to be a member of a small little group, a small little trust that we have, a trust of former political prisoners. It has former political prisoners who were on Robben Island, and then it had Comrade Ida Jimmy. The people in this trust are mainly those who were imprisoned, sentenced, and served prison sentences. So we kept contact, especially through that window. And the last time that I spoke to Ida, actually she called me, was I think in November or December last year. I didn't realize much as I was talking to her, but after putting down the phone, I could sense that it was a kind of farewell. She explained to me how sickly she has become, how difficult it has become for her to move about, and how she wished we could meet. Actually, she urged me to come and visit her. I promised that I would try my best. I don't want to blame the buses or the trains or the planes or whatever. It was my own failure that I just didn't turn out to see her while she was still alive. It's only Ida and the people above who can forgive me for that fault. But I really, really wished that I could see her before she passed on. There's one thing that, especially the three Jimmy children, and the entire Jimmy clan, and of course, all of us, either we have come to be acquainted with her, either politically, socially, family-wise, and so on. This was a strong woman. It was a loving woman. It was a humble woman. She was trustworthy. May her soul rest in peace. Let's bid her farewell. May the angels who sing at the top of our heads receive her with joy and ululation and everything that shows happiness. I thank you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ben Ulenga, who delivered that tribute on behalf of comrades and friends, for sharing your experience with our heroine, the iconic Itajimi Ha-Eiros. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the representative of our chief mourner today, and also the children, I wish to, before we call on Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, our Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, I want to make a few acknowledgements. I see that there is a large contingent of persons, friends, mourners that have joined us. You're welcome. And also I see the presence of our governor from the Erongo region. Any other leaders, traditional leaders that may have joined us in the meantime, you are most welcome. Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, herself a woman of substance with unquestionable struggle credentials, and now our leader of the ruling SWAPO Party in her position to deliver the tribute on behalf of the SWAPO Party. Honorable Shaningwa.
Thank you very much, Directors of Proceedings, our own and very own one, Comrade Honorable Dawsab, for giving me the floor. His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, President of the Republic of Namibia, and Madam, here today represented by your representative, Honorable, Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, Comrade Sarah Kugongerwa Amadila. And in this, I should also acknowledge her dear husband, Comrade Amadila. The children, the grandchildren, and the entire family of the late Comrade Aida Jimmy. I was trying to get the pronunciation of the other surname right, but it's too tough. Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, Vice President of the Republic of Namibia and that of SWAPO Party. She will definitely join us tomorrow, and she has passed her very warm condolences to the children and the family. cabinet ministers and deputy ministers, members of parliament present, comrade Central Committee and Political Bureau, the entire SWAPO Party family, Comrade Matthew Mubala, SWAPO Party Regional Coordinator of Karas region and your executive of this great region, Honorable Aleta Fredericks, our governor of this great region, Karas, and other governors present, distinguished service chiefs, distinguished veterans of the liberation struggle, I really want to acknowledge Comrade Uncle Ben Ulenga, your friends, your comrades of Comrade late Ida Jimmy, esteemed traditional authorities of this great region, esteemed religious leaders here represented by Pastor Abel Fries, another veteran, as I was informed. Dear comrades, fellow mourners, comrades and friends, before I start with my official statement, I would like to echo Uhuru for giving the right eulogy on our late departed Ida Jimmy. Perhaps we need a book for this great woman, for the young generation to learn something out of the history as how the women of this country have participated to liberate and to add value to our independence of the motherland. Thank you, Comrade Uhuru, for accurately represented the history of our heroine. Secondly, Comrade Ulenga, those of us who were scholars, young ones in the 70s, it's true we used to hear about Ida Jimmy, Ida Jimmy, Ida Jimmy. We also thought perhaps she was perhaps a white woman because names were not African. But her greatness reached us up to Ongwediva, where I schooled up. They say matric that time. We used to hear about Ida Jimmy. What a great woman. Let me now go to my statement. On Wednesday, the 3rd of April, 2024, SWAPO Party learned about the passing on of one of its veterans of the liberation struggle, Comrade Ida Jimmy, an outstanding apartheid activist, a freedom fighter, a unionist, and a notable community leader, known by many for her overflowing wisdom, her advices, a unifying acumen. Directors of ceremonies, dear comrades and friends, today is the SWAPO Party 64th birthday. SWAPO Party at its political bureau and its central committee have taken a decision not to celebrate the birthday today, as one of us has fallen. We have decided to bow our heads and to mourn and send our daughter, our revolutionary person, our heroine, with a special sending off, and that is not to celebrate the birthday today because of whom she was. She deserves to be respected, and she deserves for her life to be remembered as one of those who truthfully contributed to our freedom of our motherland, Namibia. Fellow mourners, Comrade Ida Jimmy joined the SWAPO party in 1966, after which she endured hardships at the hands of apartheid regime, which included house arrest and detentions. Because of her outspokenness about inequalities and injustices committed by the white minority rule against black Namibians. At the height of the struggle for the liberation of our country, Comrade Ida Jimmy was prepared to face and confront the brutal apartheid regime. She extensively mobilized the Namibians to reject the colonial oppression and influenced thousands and sons and daughters of this land to rally behind SWAPO party when it was not fashionable to do so. She was one of the daughters of this soil who played an instrumental role in mobilizing the Namibian people against the apartheid administration. Comrade Ida Jimmy had an unwavering commitment towards addressing the plight of her fellow oppressed workers during the apartheid era. Her life epitomizes a self-sacrificing daughter of Namibian soil who, despite all odds, undertook to either die or else liberate her motherland, no matter what it might cost. In early 1979, Jimmy Ida was arrested and detained for more than 5 months with her 1-year-old baby, Natangwe Jimmy, at Gubabe's prison. Again sentenced to 7 years and thereafter, she was placed under house arrest for 1 year. In 1980, she was again sentenced to 7 years of imprisonment, which was later reduced to 5 years, following the successful appeal. Her public statement, as was said, "Comrades, give the SWAPO freedom fighters food and water. They are our sons, brothers, and husbands," led to her imprisonment. That statement only. Directors of proceedings, fellow mourners. Post-independence, Ida Jimmy served as a member of SWAPO Party Central Committee and was also in the political bureau of SWAPO Party. She also served as Kietma SWAPO Urban Regional Councillor. She indeed continued to serve her people diligently and carry out tasks assigned to her by SWAPO Party with a majestic purpose. Comrade Ida Jimmy has never wavered and served outstandingly whenever entrusted to do so by her community and by SWAPO Party. Her name shall forever be embedded in the history of our country on the good side of those who sacrificed their lives for our eternal freedom. To the Swapo Party and people of Namibia, she embodied and exemplified everything we hope for the future generations can emulate from. The Swapo Party welcomes with appreciations the decision of His Excellency the President Dr. Nangolo Muba and his cabinet to confer a hero's funeral to our departed comrade as an appreciation for her unwavering contribution to the liberation struggle and independence of our country, Namibia. I have mentioned already that the Vice President of our party, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, was supposed to be here this afternoon, but definitely promised that tomorrow, if all goes well, she shall be here with us. And therefore, she sends still her consolations. Directors of ceremonies, dear mourners, Swapo Party shall therefore forever be grateful for having the opportunity to be associated with the dedicated daughter of the soil who was never scared to sacrifice her life for our freedom and independence. We now pay homage to this gallant fighter and veteran of the national liberation struggle. Her heroism, her contributions, and teachings will forever be engraved in our hearts and memories. Therefore, on behalf of the Swapo Party leadership, the entire rank and file, and indeed on my own behalf, it is with humility and utmost respect that I extend our sincere condolences and deepest sympathy to the entire bereaved family, the friends and the comrades in the loss of their loved one. And above all, a distinguished freedom fighter and a veteran of the war of the liberation struggle. Before now I say the last word, may I call out the Central Committee members who are here, members of the Political Bureau who are here, to show up that we are here in appreciation of our comrade. Where are you? Where are you? Can you come quickly? You move like the Secretary General. We remember, comrade, we remember. We remember, comrade, we remember. We remember, comrade, we remember. We remember forever. We remember. To comrade, we salute you. She deserves that. To comrade, we salute you. We salute you, comrade. We salute you. We salute you forever. Remember, Ida, we remember. We remember, Ida, we remember. We remember, Ida, we remember. We remember forever. Thank you you very much, and may the soul of this gallant daughter of our soil rest in the revolutionary peace, and I thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Remembered for her bravery, comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros was indeed a struggle fighter. We have the Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, who delivered the message on behalf of the SWAPO party. Of course, we heard of her political career, where she became a member, or rather a supporter of SWAPO in 1966, before she officially got the membership card in 1972, that is in Oshikuku. Of course, we heard how she was also then fired from her job at the Swaffle Fishing Company because of her political activities. Let's
Thank
cross over to the
you,
podium.
Comrade Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, for locating the role and place of our iconic Ita Jimmy within the liberation struggle paradigm of the SWAPO Party. Truly, her struggle credentials and her loyalty and association to the SWAPO Party remains unquestionable. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the representative of our chief mourner, the President of the Republic, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, I now call upon the Governor of the Karas region, Honorable Aleta Fredericks, our host in this region, who will deliver tributes on behalf of, first, our second President, His Excellency Dr. Hifikepunye Pohamba, followed by a tribute on behalf of our founding President of the Republic and an icon of the liberation struggle, father of the Namibian nation, Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nujoma. Honorable Governor.
Director of Proceedings, Honorable Yvonne Donsap, the Minister of Justice, Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, please allow me to stand on the protocol that was already established. But before I read the messages from the second President, and of course, from the founding father of the Namibian nation, I want to say something as a young woman inspired by the history of Mama Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. Now, there are two things that are very significant on this very historical day. Number one, it's the birthday of the SWAPO Party of Namibia. And of course, on this very historical day, we are also celebrating the life that was well lived by our mother, Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. And on top of that, Comrade Michael Jimmy, I feel related because your mom carries the same name of my mother, Itas. So with that said, it's a very big shoe that I'm standing in here today to have the honor to read the messages from the second President and of the founding father. Before I say that,
Ida Jimmy's life, and this is how I describe her. Her life served as a beacon of inspiration for me, and I believe for all women across Namibia and beyond. Her resilience, her courage, and determination are qualities that every aspiring young leader should emulate. By following in her footsteps and embodying a spirit of service and sacrifice, we can continue her legacy of empowerment and advocacy for the marginalized. And that is exactly what she was doing with the God-given time on this earth. The children, grandchildren, and the entire bereaved family, Snip Farm, Patani District, Beersheba constituency in the Karas region. Message of condolences. It was with a sense of deep grief and sadness that Madame Benehu Pifo and I have learned of the passing of your dear mother, sister, aunt, and grandmother, Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros, on 3rd April 2024 at Keetmanshoop State Hospital in the Karas region at the age of 78 years. Indeed, the family, the community, and the entire nation has lost a hard-working cater. Comrade Ida Jimmy, having joined the movement as a young lady at the tender age of 21, has made immense contributions to the national development of our country, most especially in the southern part of Namibia, where she actively undertook underground SWAPO activities. She was the mouthpiece for the SWAPO Southern branch and rose within the ranks because of her fearlessness and dedication to the party. She was adamant, brave, and rallied fervently, even calling the nation and comrades at large to shelter, clothe, and feed SWAPO freedom fighters. This call led to her arrest under the Notorious Terrorism Act, which would have placed her at Robben Island had she been a man. After having endured severe punishment, she was released in 1985. Comrade Ida Jimmy was elected as chairperson of the SWAPO branch in Windhoek in 1987. That same year, she was sent by SWAPO party to study at Birmingham College, where she met other fellow Namibian freedom fighters and continued campaigning and sensitizing the international community on Namibia's cause for independence and freedom. Returning to Namibia in 1988, she played a pivotal role in providing support and shelter to students during the 1988 Students' Uprising. Following the implementation of UN Resolution 435, she was sent as head of elections and district coordinator for election campaigns in Lüderitz, a task she executed with diligence and commitment, resulting in a resounding victory for SWAPO in Lüderitz during the 1989 elections. Comrade Ida will be remembered as a fearless daughter of the soil, who played a significant role in mobilizing the masses during the liberation struggle and who rose within the ranks and files, eventually serving as a member of the SWAPO Party's Central Committee and Political Bureau. She also won several accolades such as the African Woman in the Liberation Struggle Award and award from the Cuban President Fidel Castro on the acknowledgement of her role in the liberation struggle. I was honored to have conferred unto Comrade Ida Jimmy the most distinguished Order of Namibia First Class on 26 August 2010. On behalf of my family, and indeed on my own behalf, we would like to extend our most sincere sympathies and deep-felt condolences to the entire Piri family during this difficult time of mourning and sorrow. May her soul rest in eternal peace. Ifikepuye Pohamba, former President. The children, the entire Piri family of the late Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros, Snap River Farm, Patani District, Beersheba constituency, Karas region. Dear children and the entire Piri family, it is with great sadness that I have learned about the passing of your beloved mother, grandmother and a veteran of our national liberation struggle, the late Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros, on Wednesday, 3rd April 2024, at Keetmanshoop State Hospital in the Karas region. The news of her passing struck a deep and solemn note, as it is a stark reminder that an outstanding, dedicated, committed, and illustrious generation of women freedom fighters and leaders is departing. Indeed, our country has produced men and women of distinction who have provided leadership during trying times and kept the torch of freedom alive both at home and abroad during the most difficult times of our national liberation struggle. One such person was the late Comrade Ida Jimmy, affectionately known as Comrade Ida, one of the fearless freedom fighters who was the voice of the oppressed workers and a leading campaigner for the liberation struggle in the South. Her life epitomizes a self-sacrificing daughter of the Namibian soil who, despite all odds, undertook to either die or else liberate her motherland. Already alive to the importance of equal rights for all, the late Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros was introduced to politics at a tender age when she grew up in a family house in Ludrats with different races. And as children, they were never discriminated against, as they were told that Boegters are one nation. Seeing how many workers on contract labor were exploited at fishing factories and diamond mines through cheap labor, deplorable living conditions and harassment, this ignited her resistance against apartheid. Due to her Afrikaans language proficiency, she landed a supervisory job at one of the fishing factories in Ludrats in 1966. It was during that time that she experienced the brunt of apartheid. Due to her political activism, as part of the group that demanded an investigation in the death of the late Comrade Matthew Shikongo, the former chairman of the Ludrats SWAPO branch who died through poisoning, the security forces of the apartheid regime of South Africa arrested her and other comrades under age 26. They blindfolded and severely assaulted her and other comrades, interrogating them on why they joined SWAPO. After the detention, she had swollen fingers and arms due to the assault and was fired from the factory on the same day. But this did not taint her political resolve, as she continued mobilizing for SWAPO while also sensitizing our people to stand up against apartheid. From that time, there was no turning back, but standing up for the people's right, and officially received a SWAPO membership card at the rally in Oshikuku in 1972. In 1977, she was elected as SWAPO Party Women's Council's chairperson and an advisor to the executive committee of the SWAPO Party Ludrats branch, where she played a pivotal role in establishing the party structures in factories around Lutretz, Aus, Karasberg, Rospina, Keetmanshoop, and Gibeon. One day from her farm in Patani, in the southwestern part of Namibia, she narrated her incredible political journey of resistance and perseverance against the former colonial South African apartheid regime, about her involvement in representing her fellow workers and participation in the liberation struggle, saying that, and I quote, "I was like a mother to many people. The compounds were not healthy for our people, and I always went there to talk to these men. They took me like a sister or mother, and I mediated between them and their managers to speak on their behalf." The late comrade Ida Jimmy was arrested again during a rally in Gobabis and imprisoned over her political activities. It was in Gobabis in 1977, where she spent 8 months in prison with her 1-year-old son, Natangwe Jimmy, who started walking and talking for the first time in his life. And she emotionally recounted herself. During this period, the apartheid security forces wanted to serve me with the death penalty, but luckily, due to some health shortcomings, I escaped the gallows, she said. After serving her prison term, she resumed her political career and was arrested again on the 4th of May, 1978. The same day, the racist South African troops attacked the Kasinga refugee camp in Angola. This was followed by another arrest under the notorious Terrorism Act of 1967 for imploring all Namibians to support the armed liberation struggle by the combatants of the People's Liberation Army of Namibia Plan, SWAPO's military wing. This was in response to the Kasinga massacre, with a rallying call saying, "Comrades, give the SWAPO freedom fighters food, shelter, and water, as I did yesterday. They are our sons, brothers, and husbands fighting for the freedom and independence of Namibia." These profound and self-incriminating statements led to her arrest despite being 7 months pregnant. Thus, she was one of the first women to be in prison and was sentenced to 7 years in prison by the South African apartheid regime for addressing the necessity for the armed struggle at a SWAPO rally in October 9, 1980. She gave birth in prison to her son named Richard Koncheleni Jimmy. When the baby was 3 months old, he was put under the care of the late comrade Ida's mother, Oma Justina House. Unfortunately, the baby later passed on and comrade Ida was refused to attend the funeral and bury her son. After Namibia gained independence, the late comrade Ida Jimmy, although bedridden as a result of wounds inflicted on her by the apartheid regime, even at the age of 78, she has not given up her political activism and committed herself to the ongoing mobilization activities of the party, making a notable and influential contribution to the growth and political discussions in her community. When we speak of selflessness, the late comrade Ida Jimmy's name stands out as a shining example. Very few people can be said to have served their country and people with dedication, selflessness, and patriotism like the late comrade Ida Jimmy has done. As a former Robben Island political prisoner, she was an inspiration to many who spent seconds, minutes, hours, nights, days, months, and years in captivity through the notorious apartheid regime, where our people endured torture and many things done to an individual beyond imagination, especially if you are a female. She lived a humble life, which is something that most of those who endure the hardship of prison life have in common. Therefore, let us honor our heroes and heroines by putting Namibia first and the interests of our masses first. Let us wipe our tribal tendencies, which are aimed at threatening our hard-won independence, and have respect for our elders and leaders. We are thus laying to rest a stalwart and a mother who combined resilience and fortitude in fighting colonial oppression and apartheid with compassion for the poor and the downtrodden. We are bidding farewell to a heroine who shaped many people's political thought and action in many ways. We are paying tribute not just to a fellow freedom fighter and former political prisoner, but also to a compatriot and a leader in her own right. She taught us that women have an important role to play in the struggle, and there are many lessons that this stalwart of the liberation struggle has left for us. She suffered persecution, imprisonment, and harassment by the security apparatus of the apartheid regime, but she never wavered. Despite the persecution, she remained an epitome of grace and dignity and did not let bitterness engulf her heart, but remained focused on the mission of achieving freedom and justice for her people. Her legacy demonstrates the critical role that women play in the liberation struggle. We therefore acknowledge their immense contributions and sacrifices for our freedom and genuine independence. For this reason, her exemplary deeds shall be remembered by the present and future generations. To her family, her brother, her 4 sisters, and 4 children, namely Michael Jimmy, Deshi Shamena, Natangwe Jimmy, and Anna Marie Kaputu, who she brought up since she was 7 months old, while as several other children she brought up and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Our hearts go out to you as you go through the grief of a loss so overwhelming. As you walk through this difficult time, it is our wish that you are consoled by the knowledge that the formidable legacy of the late comrade Ita Jimmy will live on. Her courage, her compassion, and her service to the people of Namibia will remain a light that brightens our darkest day. May it be that other steps forward to follow in her footsteps and take up her mantle. As she finds her final resting place, allow me to thank our government for conferring on her the honor of national hero and a state funeral. This is a fitting tribute with honor and reverence to a gallant freedom fighter and an unwavering patriot who received numerous accolades for her fearless dedication to the liberation cause, including awards from the late Cuban president, Fidel Castro Ruz, and the most distinguished order of the Namibia First Class in 1995 for a meritorious service. In closing, allow me, on behalf of the veterans of our national liberation struggle, the Nioma family, and indeed on my own behalf, to extend our heartfelt condolences and deepest sympathies to the entire bereaved family members of the loss of the late comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros. May we all be granted fortitude during this trying time. May her rest be as peaceful as she was, and may her revolutionary spirit live on. Sam Nioma, founding president of the Republic of Namibia, and I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Governor, for eloquently delivering those important messages from 2 of our important voices in the liberation of our country and the body politic of our Namibian society. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the representative of our chief mourner, the President of the Republic, the children, family members, and mourners, we are slowly moving towards the main message, which will be delivered by our Right Honorable Sarah Gongela Madila on behalf of our chief mourner, who will join us at the state burial service tomorrow. But before that tribute, I now call on the Namibia Defence Force Military Band to deliver their performance. And while they are setting up to perform, I want to inform fellow mourners that we have just received news that 80 people are on their way to this memorial. They have unfortunately received some trouble with the bus in which they were traveling, so arrangements are being made to fetch them. So please do not be alarmed if you see 80 people moving in. But we move on with the program, and those of us who pray, I pray that you pray for their safe arrival here. Namibia Defence Force Military Band, your performance, please. Please rise as we call on our Right Honorable Prime Minister to deliver our final tribute for today on behalf of our President, His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, Commander-in-Chief of the Namibian Defence Force and Chief Mourner. Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Please take your seats. Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Yvonne Dausab, our Minister of Justice, Mr. Michael Jimmy, and all other children of our late comrade, as well as the entire bereaved family. Honorable Loide Kasingo, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Comrade Sophia Shaningwa, Secretary General of the SWAPO Party, Honorable McHenry Venani, President of the PDM and Leader of the Official Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Alitha Friedrich, Governor of the Karas region, and other regional governors present here today, Honorable Jeremias Huyeman, Berseba Constituency Councillor, and all other regional and local authority councillors present here, Her Excellency Ms. Jovelina A.A. Imperial A. Costa, Ambassador of the Republic of Angola and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, all other members of the Diplomatic Corps present, Gaub Emmanuel Gaseb, Chairperson of the Council of Traditional Leaders in Namibia, Pastor Abel Fries, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, Kietmanshoop, esteemed religious, traditional, and community leaders, distinguished service chiefs, veterans of the liberation struggle, fellow mourners. I'm given the task to deliver the message of our President, Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, who, due to other equally pressing national duties, is unable to join us today, but will be here tomorrow for the funeral of our departed comrade. The statement of the President goes as follows. After all protocols is observed, dear comrades, friends, and family, a stalwart is defined as a loyal, reliable, unwavering, unshakable, and hard-working individual, single-mindedly focused in our context on the total liberation of Namibia, marked by outstanding strength of character and vigor of body, mind, and spirit. Such was Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros. Today, as Namibians, we unite in sorrow and remembrance to pay tribute to this gallant daughter of the soil, matriarch, patriot, exceptional freedom fighter, and quintessential stalwart. This exemplary heroine of Namibia's liberation struggle, who sadly departed this earthly realm on 3rd April 2024, throughout her admirable life, embodied the essence of loyalty, consistency, and hard work. Therefore, in this solemn gathering, we remember and reflect on the extraordinary legacy of Comrade Ida Jimmy, a struggle icon with an indomitable spirit and a never-say-die demeanor to life. Our heroine's political journey began in 1966, a time when the flames of the liberation struggle were ignited following the attack carried out by South African enemy troops at Ongulumbashe on the 26th of August of that year. She dedicated herself wholeheartedly to the cause, never wavering in her commitment to see our nation free from oppression and injustice. The year 1972 marked a profound moment in Comrade Ida Jimmy's political journey as she officially received her SWAPO membership card at a rally at Oshikuku in the Umsati region. This signaled the beginning of her official involvement in the liberation struggle. Moreover, her true impact was yet to be realized. Comrade Ida Jimmy's political coming of age took place in Namibia's southern region, an area whose brave compatriots played an integral role in the fight for independence. Following in the footsteps of the renowned revolutionary Captain Hendrik Voetboy, who resisted German imperialism and colonial oppression unto death, many brave sons and daughters hailing from the South, decades later, followed the same path of revolution. They transformed the southern regions into a cauldron of political consciousness and social uprising against apartheid South Africa's illegal occupation. Towns such as Keetmanshoop, Hoganas, Gibeon, Bethany, Tsets, Berseba, and Valgras are just a few of the places in the south that became hotbeds of resistance against unjust apartheid policies and mobilization grounds for young Southerners to join SWAPO and dynamically partake in the liberation struggle. The late comrades Axel Johannes and David Meroro held the first public SWAPO rally in Berseba towards the end of 1974. This opened the door towards the deeper political awakening of the South and the then Nama schools, which went on strike in 1975. In Gibeon, the late SWAPO stalwart, Honorable Reverend Willem Konyore, organized a successful teacher strike. This motivated students at St. Teresa High School at Tsets, who also decided to boycott classes in November of 1976 to oppose the apartheid education system. The boycott was also to show solidarity with the Soweto uprising of June 1976 in South Africa. As part of these revolutionary uprisings, luminaries such as the late Reverend Dr. Hendrik Vetboy, Honorable Stephanus Goliath, Gaub Joel Stephanus, and Gaub Age Noteb met at Gibeon to pledge their allegiance to SWAPO and to the liberation struggle of Namibia. In so doing, they laid the groundwork for a radical political uprising in the South. This background describes the socio-political milieu which Comrade Ida Jimmy and her contemporaries helped establish. Fellow mourners, in 1977, Comrade Ida Jimmy was elected chairperson of the SWAPO Women's Council. Her dedication and vision propelled her further, leading to her appointment as an advisor to the executive committee of the SWAPO Luderis branch. During her tenure in these key positions, Comrade Ida Jimmy established SWAPO structures in factories around the southern towns, ensuring that SWAPO's mobilization for the liberation struggle reached every corner of Namibia. Throughout her life, Comrade Ida Jimmy encountered immense hardships, torture, and humiliation. She was arrested multiple times, including one instance which took place while nursing her child during months of imprisonment with her son beside her. On the tragic day of the Kasinga massacre, the 4th of May, 1978, Comrade Ida Jimmy was unfairly detained, but later released without charges. At the height of the armed liberation struggle, she unflinchingly remained a radically unwavering cadre supporting SWAPO and its armed wing plan. Following the Kasinga attack, she addressed a rally in Luderitz, declaring, and I quote, "Comrades, give the SWAPO freedom fighters food, shelter, and water. They are our sons, brothers, and husbands, fighting for the freedom and independence of Namibia," close quote. This courageous statement led to yet another arrest, even while heavily pregnant, but she remained undeterred and resolute in her commitment to the cause of liberation. Those arrested with her and sentenced to prison in 1979 included liberation struggle icons such as the late Hendrik Voetboy, Dan Chongarero, and Mokhanedi Tlabanelo, as well as Bishop Emeritus Zevania Kameta, while Comrade Lucia Hamtenya and many other comrades were also included in that number. Following the completion of her prison term in 1985, the SWAPO leadership in 1987 entrusted her with the role of chairperson for the SWAPO branch in Windhoek. In the same year, Comrade Ida Jimmy was sent by SWAPO to study at Selly Oak campus in Birmingham, United Kingdom. Here, she continued her tireless campaign to garner support for the liberation struggle, this time on the international stage. Her efforts were instrumental in sensitizing the citizens of the United Kingdom to the injustices and sufferings faced on a daily basis by the majority of Namibians who had become now second-class citizens in the country of their own birth. In 1988, after completing her studies, Comrade Ida Jimmy returned to Namibia and immersed herself back into mobilization activities, rallying Namibians towards the common goal of freedom and self-determination. One of her most significant contributions came during the crucial period following United Nations Resolution 435. Comrade Ida Jimmy was appointed as SWAPO's head of elections and district coordinator for Lüderitz during the 1989 elections. Her leadership and unwavering commitment played a pivotal role in securing a resounding victory for SWAPO in Lüderitz, marking a significant step towards independence. After Namibia's independence, Comrade Ida Jimmy became the first constituency councillor of Keetmanshoop Urban from 1992 to 1994, where she worked tirelessly to improve the lives of her constituents and build a better future for all. In recognition of her leadership qualities, she was appointed as SWAPO Party Regional Coordinator for the Karas region. In this role, she continued to champion the values of equality, justice, and unity that were central to nation building. Comrade Ida Jimmy's brave actions in Namibia's struggle for freedom were acknowledged globally. Her crucial role during the liberation struggle was honored with prestigious awards, including the Africa Women in the Liberation Struggle Award and a recognition from the paragon of the Cuban Revolution, President Comandante Fidel Castro. Furthermore, our founding president, Comrade Dr. Sem Shafishuna Nuyoma, bestowed upon her the Independence Medal in 2002 and the Most Distinguished Order of Namibia, First Class, in 2010 for her exceptional service to our nation. As we pay our respects to this remarkable woman, let us take solace in the fact that her fight for freedom was not in vain. Namibia is now a united, independent, and free nation in which all Namibians enjoy equal fundamental human rights and freedoms, owing to the heroic sacrifices of heroes and heroines like Comrade Ida Jimmy, who will remain forever etched in our hearts. In closing, I wish to extend, on behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Namibia, our most profound condolences to the children, family, comrades, and friends of Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros. We will forever remember her as a beacon of courage, a pillar of resilience, a mother to our nation, and a heroine of the Republic of Namibia. Indeed, Comrade Ida Jimmy, in Apostle Paul's words, it is true that you, and I quote, have fought the good fight. You have finished the race. You have kept the faith, and henceforth there is laid up for you a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give to you that day. Close quote. Now, may your brave soul rest in eternal peace. I thank you. So ends the statement of His Excellency, the President.
A special broadcast of the state funeral of liberation struggle fighter of note, Comrade Ida Jimmy Ha-Eiros. Of course, the Right Honorable Dr. Sarah Kukongelwa Amadela, Prime Minister and representative of the Chief Mourner, delivering the message there of His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba. Indeed, she was remembered as a stalwart across all the speakers that remembered her and paid their last respects to her. You know, she was remembered for her bravery and sacrifices, and of course the consistency that came out through all the messages. The late Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros was, of course, a leader within the liberation movement, which articulated a clear vision for a free and democratic Namibia. And also, she always wanted to see a free Namibia, and that is how she was remembered by the speakers today. Just in some of the messages, made mention of her leadership that was characterized by resilience and the determination on the principles of justice and equality. She also received the most distinguished honor, first class, for her tireless contribution to the Namibian nation. Stay tuned as we take in the sights and sounds of Farm Snip River, just southwest of the Keetmanshoop,
where we will get our refreshments this afternoon. After the benediction by the pastor, Pastor Fries, thank you, and don't rush back. Stay. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Please remain standing and or seated for a minute while we are having the body prepared for viewing. Please have a seat. Thank you.
If you're still tuned in, of course, the special broadcast of Comrade Ita Jimmy Ha-Eiros coming to you from Farm Snap River. As is custom, the remains will lie in state, and you can join us again tomorrow for the funeral service. Thank you.